She was too wired to sleep, and besides, her back hurt, and she couldn't stand the thought of waiting even one more night to get started. Brandon hadn't seemed like the kind of guy to wait for his revenge. And Shane wasn't the kind of guy to not hold up his end of the deal either. If he's stupid enough to want to get bitten, fine, but he's not using me for an excuse. Shane hadn't come out of his room all night. She hadn't heard a thing when she had listened carefully at his door. Eve had mimed headphones and turning up an invisible stereo. Claire couldn't understand that. She'd spent lots of hours trying to blow out her own eardrums to avoid the world. Eve went her laptop, a retro thing, big, black and clunky, with a biohazard symbol sticker on the front. When Claire plugged it into the broadband connection and booted it up, the desktop graphic was a cartoon Grim Reaper, holding a road sign instead of a scythe. A road sign that read Morganville, with an arrow pointing down. Claire clicked on a couple of folders, guiltily, but she was curious, and found they were full of poetry, even like death, or at least she liked to write about it. Florid romantic stuff, all angst and blood and moonlit marble. And then Claire noticed the dates. The last of the poetry had been done 3 years ago. He would have been, what, 15? She'd been starry-eyed about vampires back then, but something had changed. No poetry at all for the past 3 years. Eve walked in the open door. "Working okay?" she asked. Claire jumped, guilty, and gave her a thumbs up as she clicked open the notification. "Okay, I'll call my cousin in Illinois. She's going to let us use her PayPal account, but I have to send her cash, like tomorrow. Here's their account." She handed over a slip of paper. "We're not going to get her killed, right?" "Nope. I don't buy much from any one place. A lot of people buy leather and tools and stuff. And paper. How old is this book supposed to be?" "Old. Was it on vellum? Is that paper?" "Vellum is the oldest kind of paper they used in books. It's sheepskin." "Oh, I get that then. It's really old." "The vellum would be hard. You could get it, but it was easy to trace. But it wasn't any good being freak smart if you couldn't get around things like that." "Oh yeah." She needed to think about using somebody else to do the research too. Too dangerous having tracks that led right back here to the glass house. Claire went to work. She didn't even notice Eve going and shutting the door behind her. 4 days, Claire studied. 4 solid days. Eve brought her up soup and bread and sandwiches, and Shane dropped by once or twice to tell her she was crazy and he wanted her to stay the hell out of his business. Claire didn't pay any attention. She got like that when she was completely inside of something. She heard him, and she said something back, but no way was she listening. Like her parents, Shane eventually gave up and went away. Lila came to her room just a little before dawn. That one surprised her long enough to drag her out of her trace for a while. "How's it going?" he asked. "Mission save Shane?" "Yeah, it's going," she said. "I have to work the long way around. No traces, don't worry. Even if the vamps get angry, they won't be able to prove we did anything but bring them what we thought they were looking for." Michael looked pleased, but worried. He worried a lot. She supposed that being trapped the way he was, that was really all he could do. Fight anything that got inside to hurt them. I'm worried about everything else. Frustrating, she guessed. "Hey," she said, "when does Eve go to work?" 4 o'clock, but that's the night shift, I know. She's safe enough there, though, and I don't think any vamp is stupid enough to try and get in the way of that damn car. It's like being run over by a Hummer. I made a promise that Oliver would walk her to the car, and Shane's going to get her from the sidewalk inside. Claire nodded. "I'm going with her." "To the coffee shop? Why?" "Because it's anonymous," she said. "Every college student in there has a laptop, and the place is free wireless. If I'm careful, they won't be able to trace who's looking up how to fake age a book." He gave her an X-rated look. On him it looked cute. God, she was still noticing. She really needed to stop that, but hey, Sweet 16 had never been guessed. "I don't like Eve out there at night. You're definitely not going. If I do it here, everybody could be in danger, including Eve." Ooh, low blow. She saw his eyes shift, but he toughed it out. "So your answer is that. I let you go out there, risk your life, sit in the coffee shop with Brandon, and pretend like that's safer? Claire, in no way does that equal safer. Safer than the vampires deciding that everybody in this house deliberately set out to cheat them out of the one thing that they want most." Claire said. "We're not playing, are we? I mean, I can stop if you want, but we don't have anything else we can trade for Shane's deal. Nothing big enough. I'd let Brandon, but somehow I don't think over my... Michael stopped and laughed. I was going to say over my dead body, but Claire went, no. Okay. You're not my dad, she pointed out, and all of a sudden remembered. Shane in the hospital. When she'd been drugged up and said, they called your parents. Also, she distinctly remembered the words freaked out. Oh crap. Dad? That aloud. Oh no, I need to use the phone. Can I? Calling your parents? Sure, well, yeah, no, I paid for it. Thanks. She picked up the cordless phone and dialed her home number. It rang 5 times and flipped over to the machine. Hello, you've reached Les and Catherine Danvers and their daughter, Claire. Leave us a message. It was her mom's bright, business-like voice. When the beep sounded, Claire had a second of blind panic. Maybe they were just out shopping, or, hi Mom and Dad, it's Claire. I just wanted to, say hi. I should have called you, I guess. That lab accident thing, that was nothing really. I don't want you to be worried about me. Everything's just fine, really. Michael leaning against the doorframe was making funny faces at her. That seemed like Shane's job somehow. She stuck her tongue out to him. I just wanted to say that I love you. Bye. She hung up, Michael said. You ought to get them to come and take you home. And leave you guys in this mess? You're in it because of me. Shane's in it because of me. Now that Monica knows he's back, oh, believe me, I'm not underestimating how much trouble we're in. But you can still go. And you should. I'm going to try to convince Shane to get out too. Eve won't go, but she could. She should. But that leaves you alone. She left me alone. There was no getting out of Michael. Not ever. Michael looked up and out the window, where the sky was gradually washing from midnight blue to a paler dawn. My time's up, he said. Promise me you won't go without Eve tonight. I can't. Claire, I can't. I'm sorry. He didn't have time to argue. Though she could see he wanted to. He walked down the hall, heard his bedroom door close, and thought about what she'd seen downstairs in the living room. She wasn't sure how she'd handle that if she had to face it every day. It looked really painful. She supposed the worst of it, though, was his knowing that if he'd been alive, been able to walk around in the daylight, he'd have been able to stop Shane from doing what he'd done. I wouldn't have to if you'd step up and watch my back. Shannon yelled at him. Yeah, that must have hurt just about worse than dying. Claire went back to work. Her eyes burned. Her muscles ached, but in some strange and secret place, she was happy to finally be doing something that wasn't to protect herself. Wasn't just protecting herself, but protecting other people too, if it worked. The strange thing was, she just knew it would. She knew. She really was a freak, she decided. Claire woke up at 3:30, bleary-eyed and aching, and struggled into a fresh t-shirt and a pair of jeans that badly needed washing. One more day, she decided, and then she braved the washing machine in the basement. She had monster bedhead, even though she'd barely slept for 3 hours, and had to stick her head under the faucet and finger fluff her hair back to something that wasn't too puke-worthy. She stuck the laptop into the messenger bag case and dashed downstairs. She could hear Eve's shoes clumping through the house, heading for the door. Wait up! She yelled, and pillowed down the stairs and through the living room just as the front door slammed. Crap. She opened it just before Eve succeeded to locking it. Eve looked guiltily. You were going to leave me, Claire said. I told you I wanted to go. Yeah, well, you shouldn't. Marco talked to you last night. Eve sighed and fidgeted one black pants and leather shoe. A little bit, yeah, before you went to bed. I don't need everybody protecting me. I'm trying to help. I get it. If I say no and drive off, what are you going to do? Walk. That's what I was afraid of. Get in the car. Common ground was packed with students, reading, chatting, drinking all kai and mochas, and lattes. And Claire was grateful to see, working on laptops. There must have been a dozen going at once. She gave Eve a thumbs up, ordered a cup of tea, and went in search of a decent spot to work. Something with her back to the wall. Oliver brought her tea himself. She smiled uncertainly at him and minimized the browser window. She was reading up on famous forgeries and techniques. Dead giveaway, with emphasis on dead. Not that she disliked Oliver, but any guy who seemed to be able to enforce rules on the vampires was somebody she couldn't trust for real far. Hello, Claire. Said, may I sit? Sure, she said, surprised, also uncomfortable. He was old enough to be her dad, not to mention kind of hippy-dippy. Though being a Fringer herself, she didn't mind that part so much. And how's it going? Busy today. He set himself into the chair with a sigh of what sounded like gratitude. I want to talk to you about Eve. Okay, she said stolidly. I'm concerned about her, Oliver said. He leaned forward, elbows on the table. She hastily closed the cover of the laptop and rested her hands protectively on top of it. Eve seems distracted. That's very dangerous. And I'm quite sure that by now you understand why. It's Shane. Yes, I thought that was probably the case. The boy's gotten himself into a great deal of trouble. But he did with a pure heart, I believe. Her pulse was hammering fast, and her mouth felt dry.